Okay, gentlemen. David?
Mike, Kevin Moore, Dallas Morning News. Before we get to the game, just talk about Ron Bland, how you learned of the injury, just the significance of the injury going into the season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something that came up in practice while we were still in Oxnard. And just like any injury, you go through the scans and, second opinions and things like that. So we've known about it for a few days, and this is the best plan for DB, and I think it's going to be between 6 to 8 weeks, and just like he attacks everything, he'll attack the rehab the same way.
Just a quick follow up on that. It's you're going to tell us, but I mean Carson has kind of put himself in the mix, and you have Booth. Just how it plays out, or what you.
I agree with you. I agree. Look at your depth chart.
Just piggybacking on this for a second, can you talk about how Carson has played so far in camp, what you see from him?
Yeah, definitely. I've done a lot of nice things, obviously, early. I think he was probably one of the, rookies that probably made the quickest first impression, just as far as playmaking. Then he had this situation with his wisdom tooth, so he missed a few days. But, yeah, I think like anything, you have an opportunity to draft these young men. You go back to the off-season program, really don't get to do much as far as, the physicality component of it. But you can see right away in the 7-on-7s and so forth, his skill set and his ball skills. And I think the things that really highlight just the way we like to play and the ability to take the ball away. So, and I think that clearly carried over to training camp once we put the pads on. So he's done a nice job.
Getting to the game, certainly the 5 interceptions stand out for Trey, but can you talk about his game? I know he took a step from game week 1 to week 2, and how do you?
Yeah, definitely. I think what stands out to me is the 11-plus play drives. I don't know if we had 4 or 5 of them. Had the ball plus 20 minutes than our opponent. Established that on the first drive. I tell you, it's as a head coach, the longer you do this, you really appreciate games like today from I'm talking about our offensive perspective, because they gave us a lot of pressure. Our guys saw a ton of pressure tonight, and that's the best work in preseason. It really tells you a lot about your younger players. I mean, look at our offensive linemen; they played over 90 plays, so we have incredible tape to go back and look to make these evaluations. But Trey in particular, he's just an ascending young, talented quarterback that just loves to be coached. I wish we had 3 more preseason games just to get him out there, just to keep playing, because he had tremendous production. But yes, the turnovers are always the first thing we talk about and coach and go through. And that last opportunity, he definitely was where he needed to be. Had a chance to hit that last touchdown. So I mean, there's always been 4 or 5 plays each game that he'll learn from, but he continually gets better every time you give him a chance, and I think that says a lot about him. I think he's just a young guy that needs to play. I think he'll play in this league for a long time.
Yeah, Tim Kalishaw, Dallas Morning News. What concerns you most about starting seasons this way? You've done it 3 or 4 times where nobody plays in the preseason, none of your starters play.
Mm-hmm.
You beat the Giants 40-0, but you lost a couple of games to Tampa Bay. What's the biggest concern of not having those playing reps?
I think the biggest thing is the continuity between who's actually going to play in week 1. That's what I found. I mean, it's to me it's one way or the other. You're making a decision. Obviously, you're trying to lessen the risk of injury with this approach compared to taking the risk of injury with the other approach. I've done them both ways, and I get where it's at, but the ability to have your starters on week 1, I think clearly overrides the old way. And I've been convinced since it's 16, 17 games, going to 18 games. So, starting off the season, as potentially the best you can be from an injury standpoint is why we did it. But with that, you got to get it done in practice. And I wish we could have had 2 more practices like we had last week. We had 2 ball busting practices that were super competitive. And they were clearly our best practices of training camp, even the work that we had with the Rams. So I trust our process is the point I'm trying to make. And that's, gives me great confidence in starting off. But the biggest thing is, once we get past Tuesday is to get this game plan set and get the reps, because, CD's not here yet, so, I mean, just getting everybody rep to make sure, we're clean where we can get up there and compete and play in sync. And we're on the road for week 1, so that's always the challenge. You remember I stood up here, same press conference last year, and our offensive line hadn't practiced together yet. So I mean and you go back and look the way we played the first couple of weeks. So I've been there, and but at the end of the day, it's we made this decision to go this route just to lower the risk of injury, and we've done the best we can, and now we're here.
Aaron Cousin is Lone Star Live. What stood out to you, if anything, from the way Trey responded to the interceptions, his demeanor, his general?
Oh, I just kept playing. I mean, just look at go through the game. I mean, he had a huge run for a touchdown, and I just kept battling back. And that's really, that's why you take the ball in preseason. We wanted, that's the last thing we talked about in the team meeting. We want as much as the Chargers as we can get. We want to play. We want our young guys to compete, play. It was our first time to play at home. It was awesome. I mean, this is what these guys work for. We started this in April, so, and this is really just, this is part of our journey. But it is a checkpoint for us. This is the preseason is concluded, but we wanted to finish strong, and and wanted every opportunity to win the game. And Clarence, you need to get that. No, you good? All right. So, but no, that's I just think he kept playing. I mean, what did we end up with? 92 players, or? Yeah. So that's invaluable, and that's what all the young guys need, and that's what Trey Lance needs. So, I think we definitely hit the target there.
Elton Henderson, Gilmer Mirror. Mike, a lot of positives, like you said. Lance kept battling back. You went 2 for 2 on 4th down, and the running game all day long looked really solid.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you just saw from the start of the game, was it a 14-play drive to start the game, and the run game was extremely productive, and then they started pressuring us in the red area once we got down there, and then really once we crossed the 30-yard line, minus 30-yard line, we saw pressure all the way through. So great work for us. I think some of it was a response to the efficiency of the run game. So it's great. It was great work for us.
I know need to look at the tape. There are a lot of guys you're looking at, but Ballin and Flournoy, what they did today, and just what they've done over the last 7 to 10 days in camp coming on here.
Yeah, I think if you look at ratio per opportunity to make plays, both those guys are pretty high. With the opportunity to the ball in their hands. Flo missed some time there in training camp, but boy, he's bounced back so strong. Such a physical player, tough player, smart player. But yes, just without seeing the video, I was impressed with them again today.
And just real quick, you mentioned it earlier, but your process from tonight forward on getting the 53, and some teams like to take care of it a little bit earlier and just get it in place and look around. Just what your approach will be.
Really, our schedule is, says the coaches, we'll start watching it tonight. We'll have it all graded by the morning, and then we'll work as a staff from 9 to noon, and then we'll start. I'll start having meetings in the afternoon, and then we'll start the process.
Well, Mike, do you feel like you've got enough tape on all the players to be where you want to be to make the decisions on the final roster?
If we had 100 plays on offense, I think we'd have got it done, but we're a little short.
Now that you're moving towards the regular season, is there a more urgency to try to find a way to get CD here? I mean, how do you approach that situation?
Yes, I think there's urgency on both sides. I just once again, this is business, and what goes on there is really between the individuals in the room. But yes, I think everybody involved wants to get it done.
Any concern about readiness for even if he signs readiness for week 1, just because you don't want to ramp up and you don't want to cause an injury or anything like that?
Yeah, no, that's you got to have a healthy plan. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we got to be smart there, and just use good judgment, and and that'll be the case. But yeah, I think it's just the reality where we are. So we'll deal with it one day at a time.
How do you feel the time-saving virtual reality first down calls are going?
They're still working on it, I think, for here. So I mean, it got from the Rams to the Raiders. It got a little faster, I think. So, but went the wrong direction tonight. So we'll see what happens. It's cool when they get it up there. I mean, it's I can see why they want to do it.
All righty, thank you.
All righty, thank you.